I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor. Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. We're finishing up our X-Men rewatch. Kevin, Josh, Gabe, and I are going to be talking about Deadpool 2, the last movie in this rewatch before Deadpool and Wolverine. So very excited for this. Deadpool 2, the Rotten Tomatoes score, the critics gave it an 84%, and the audience gave it an 85%. So the audience was 5% lower on Deadpool 2 than the first Deadpool.
Fuck the audience.
And then the box office was 785.8 million. Again, one of the highest grossing rated R movies. So that's pretty cool. And this is directed by David Leitch, who of course directed the John Wick movies as well as Bullet Train and Fall Guy, which are some great movies that he's done. So very excited to talk about this one. What are your guys' impressions of Deadpool 2 on this rewatch?
Kevin has
I think the humor still stands up.
Go.
What'd you say, Gabe?
Well, as we know,
Kevin.
I love the X-Men in general. I love all the X-Men content, aside from a couple of entries, but we don't have to talk about those. And this is, it's just so funny and it's so good. And like, I remember people saying they didn't like this one as much as the last one, and having just rewatched both of them like back to back, I don't know why. I don't get it.
I don't know why either.
Like, I genuinely think this is an improvement. Like, not that the other one was bad, but like, I think this steps it up. Like,
yeah.
And I remember a thing at the time. I remember a criticism at the time of Infinity War that came out like a month before this was that they fridged Gamora, right? Like they killed her just like further the plot line of the male character. And so then this came out and it was kind of the same, but it's like, it's more forgivable. Like she A, still gets to be in the movie, and B, it gets undone during the like end credits.
Yeah.
Like the mid-credit scene, right? So like even that criticism doesn't stick. So like, I don't remember why people didn't like this as much at the time. I don't know where that criticism came from, but like, I think it's great. I love it.
I agree with you, Kevin. Like I have no idea either. I think this is like definitely an improvement on the first Deadpool. Like I think they're both consistent with each other, but this one just has, I like the plot better. I like that we bring in this teenager here who's like, I just feel like he fits better with in this cast. And then of course you're gonna get like Cable and like Domino, and just some of these cast members and characters just work so much better with Deadpool when you compare it to the team in the first one.
Yeah. Like I think one of the complaints was that Domino in the comics doesn't act the same way this one does. Like I guess in the comics she's like more daring, and here she was more like and so I think that was one of them, but I think the way I think it just works with Ryan Reynolds and Josh Brolin being the like super serious one and Colossus being like the super serious ones. Like it works to have somebody else who's like kind of goofy and doesn't give a shit.
Right.
So
exactly.
I like it.
And
I like this as like a team-based romp, because I don't know how well another full feature of just Deadpool would bode unless they like did something slightly different.
Right.
I also do think Domino's character is nice. I'm not familiar with the source material, but like I like having like I remember in 2018 I was like, what? Like luck? That's a dumb power. But now I'm like, okay, that's cool as hell. It kind of feels like the world is like revolving around her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like, I think that's just so cool. But upon a rewatch, my favorite part is just Josh Brolin. He's just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I like the car chase or whatever when they're transporting the mutants, and
Yeah.
he's just like hauling ass with his like big ass rifle from like 2088 or whatever year he's from. He's like, I'm like, this guy's a certified maniac.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really, really cool. And like the funniest thing is they even reference it that Cable is much bigger in the comics, but like
Oh yeah, 5'11", Josh
5'11",
Brolin.
much smaller than the comics.
but it works out. Josh Brolin is really good again as another comic book character. So, and only a month after Infinity War made him like a big star as Thanos, or a bigger star, because Josh Brolin was a great actor.
He is a big
before
star,
that.
but like big to this world,
Yes.
like the comic book movie world.
2018 to 2019 really, like, that man's wallet was thick, but he had to go get like 3 more wallets after this shit was over, because he was like, listen, I'm raking in the money as Thanos, and he got an extra fat slap on that paycheck with Cable. So hell yeah. But I think I definitely agree with for the most part with Kevin on how like this movie is not worse than the first one. Like it's not there's no way where I watched it and I was like, oh, this is a step down, like quality went down. Number one, you can tell that this guy made John Wick, because number one, it looks like it was made by the guy who made John Wick. Like it's just the use of the colors, the use of like some of the action that like I've never broken a bone in my entire body. I'm a very careful person. So watching this and like especially during the fight at the end where like Luck comes in and all those guys like tripping and impaling themselves, like breaking their necks and shit. Literally verbally, I'm just like, oh, like,
it's such
I'm just like
it's such kinetic action. It's just so rapid fire all the time.
It's what David Leitch is really good at.
Yeah.
Like, and even when like the convoy flips over because Juggernaut punches like the ground, and like that's straight out of Bullet Train, which he's gonna do in like 4 years from there.
Yeah.
And like it's so good.
Speaking of that moment that you just brought up, number one, I remember sitting in the theater. I went and saw this with a couple of my friends from high school. I remember sitting in the theater and my friends and I were playing a guessing game on who the giant character is. And I'll never forget, I guessed correctly right when they said, oh, there's somebody down there none of us know. And I went, it's going to be this person. And my buddy went, dude, they would never put him in this movie. And I was right. So eat that, Austin.
Well, why wouldn't they? There's so many
idiot.
X-Men characters, and they integrate all these X-Men intellectual properties so well.
Yes.
Can you imagine they go down there and it's fucking Jubilee or something? It's like
your friend thinking that it was like the Shrinky Dink Juggernaut from X3.
Yeah,
when he was just some bodybuilder in a helmet.
You serious? You know I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
It's me, the Juggernaut.
They go down there and it's Kitty Pryde, and they're just like, "What? Like, that's who you are?" They go down there and it's an actual black Tom Cassidy, and they're like, "We knew it!" Like,
that was probably my favorite joke of the movie.
Mine is still his his response. So he goes, Black Tom Cassidy, and he goes, White Wade Wilson. The perfect response.
It's so funny. It's so good.
No, my favorite part is then when Cable accidentally kills Black Tom Cassidy.
You racist
killed it,
motherfucker. Once again, intolerance rears its ugly head.
I hope
for
you
the rest of the movie
by the content of their character, not by the color.
The rest of the movie, Deadpool's just painting fucking Cable. I'm not a racist, dipshit.
All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but yeah. So this is just a great follow up to the first Deadpool, and I think, as we said, outdoes it in every way, I think. All right, well let's get into it. So I mean, we should talk about this opening. This is an iconic opening, so iconic that Walker Scobell recited this word by word to Ryan Reynolds for the Adam Project. um the scene where Deadpool is hunting down all like the bad people and the mercenaries and whatnot. And Donde esta bibliothèque, that translates to, I don't speak Cantonese, pumpkin fucker.
It was also like from a movie making perspective, that was also a really good like montage, because then you could have all of those scenes in the trailer and like misdirect people about what the story was, which was also like a, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Another
Sorry,
great
I'm realizing how big my forehead is, so I'm adjusting. But it's
Adjust your forehead. Hold up.
Yeah. So I know that when we were watching, but yeah, I love how my favorite is when someone, I think it was probably New Rock Stars at the time, because I love finding out all the oh, I'm too stupid to find references that are right in front of my face, so I watch other people do it for me. But when they pointed out that the lettering on the building literally is just Deadpool, and I was like, yes, that perfect. It's literally introducing him for the scene, and it was perfect.
Yeah. I also like when he gets into the building with the guy who's gonna kill Vanessa later, and it's just like all the crazy action behind him. That's another David Leitch thing, is like he'll just do crazy actions like sequences like that even going on in the background, and just the guy runs by on fire. He's like, holy shit, the guy's actually on fire.
That's not CGI, folks. That's real.
Yes.
So I really do like this. And then he jumps into the taxi cab of Dopinder, and you have Dopinder listening to like how to make himself like a contract.
Self-help. Yes.
I love how you can hear Deadpool outside of the window yelling, "Start the fucking car!" Right. And Dopinder just sitting there listening like, I should do this. And Deadpool just outside,
oh god. And then you have the whole Tom Cruise and Kirsten Dunst discussion.
Getting a little weird in here.
Like, I love how he actually says, like, I can't wait until we stop talking about this. And then he gets out of the car and he immediately like, you're my Tom Cruise, and Deadpool just goes, and you're my Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten, and like just keep Kristen, and just keeps going with her name.
That's so good.
Also, technically, I'll include that as a Spider-Man reference, because she was Mary Jane Watson. I'll include that.
True.
Very true. So then we get into obviously Vanessa's death, and so like
good riddance. Oh, I mean, no.
I love it. I want to mention the credits though, because they're hilarious. That like,
did you just like kill her?
Yeah, you just killed her.
Yes, they're all like, WTF, seriously? Why would you do, like, it's so funny.
Directed by the guy that killed John Wick's dog.
Yes.
I also love the seeing like all of the bullets, the coin. So like it's using stuff from this story. We just don't know it yet. But my favorite is when his swords fly by and you see the B Arthur, and I was like, I don't know why I always think that's so sweet when I get reminded that Deadpool's swords are named B, like they have B and Arthur on it. I don't know why I love that so much, probably because I love Golden Girls. But that'll explain it. But yeah, I love seeing that every opportunity we get. So I swear to fucking God, if they change it in Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm burning the theater down. Give me B Arthur.
We also have, right when he does kill himself or try to kill himself, is obviously the reference to Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, he's just smoking too, and he's like, yeah, let's see. So good.
Yeah. So then we get into the bar scene. Obviously Wade's so depressed that he's literally just pissing in the middle of the bar.
Just sitting there pissing himself.
Yeah.
He said, are you pissing yourself? That's the face you make when you're pissing yourself.
Yes.
And you have Buck that gets no more speaking lines because he horribly tries to console Wade.
No more speaking roles for you.
That might be another one of my favorite lines of the entire movie. Just all right, well, let's get to some other character stuff. So Negasonic and Yukio relationship. So this is two characters, two of the first like openly gay relationship that I can remember in a superhero movie, a comic book movie. So this is pretty cool. And like just how naturally they are able to like weave it in here. And so
I also like the like Yukio and Deadpool like have like, as mean as he is to Negasonic, he is nice to Yukio. Like, it's very funny.
It's like that
Yukio.
friend's friend, or no. It's like that friend of a person you like, but you don't like that person. It was funny.
Right. It's like me and Pirate Sarah. Thank God she's not here for this.
I did not know at first until like last year that her character was a recast of the one. I didn't know it was the same character from like the Wolverine when he goes to Japan. I had no idea until and the original one was also the girl from Pitch Perfect who like is very quiet, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, I didn't know that was the same character.
I never saw the Wolverine.
It. Really?
Nah, never.
For the first time.
All I know is he goes to Japan, he saves some guy, and the guy's like, "Now you must die, Wolverine."
And you have
Silver
the Silver
Samurai, yeah.
Yeah, where he just sucks out Wolverine's adamantium to make himself younger, which is a choice.
He said, "Wolverine, get over here and I'll give you a suck." And then he did. So it was a crazy movie. It's pretty R-rated. But yeah, Gabe said, "I got to get my hands on this film." But it was, I love Yukio in this movie, and I'm so glad that it looks like it's going to transfer over to the new one, because they're like, "Hi Yukio," and like in the first fucking trailer for "Hi Yukio,"
yes.
And I love it. I can't wait to see it, and I do love how like the first introduction he gets, they walk in as a couple. And it's funny because Wade goes, "What the fuck is this?" and she goes, "We're a couple." And he goes, "Not so fast. I'm not approaching it that way. I'm just surprised anybody would want to date you."
Yeah, piece of shit. And then it's pump the hate brakes box in front.
Yeah.
And then Yukio goes, "I like him," and she's like, "No, like, don't." But
oh god, it's so good. And then we also in the mansion we do get more Colossus here, and like Colossus trying to help Wade out, and obviously you get the cameo of the younger X-Men generation, which is fantastic.
Hell yeah.
That is such money well spent. That was like, to this day, that's one of the funniest cameos I've ever seen. They're just like, "Oh, this fucking guy's here."
Yeah, because it was fucking Colossus. Well, obviously Colossus was there, but like Nightcrawler was in there. They had Quicksilver. Fucking Cyclops is who I meant to say, not Colossus. Cyclops, Storm. I was like, oh my gosh. It's such a perfect cameo, because it's like, hey, here are all these super important people, and then they just like shut the door because like, we don't want to deal with this guy. We're just gonna shut the door.
And honestly, it's like it works out fine. Like, I can believe that. Okay, maybe no one's in the mansion. You know, they're in a meeting or at class or whatever. But it is so nice to just see the mansion. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure.
It was nice knowing that there's other people there instead of acknowledging the joke for a second time and just leaving it like, yeah, he's just making fun of the studio again. But actually, I remember there was some confusion because it's the cast from like all of the 80s ones, which makes sense because those actors were on contracts at that point. But also, like, I remember people like, what if they got the older people? I'm like, those motherfuckers they're older. Like, their bodies are very different from the black leather spandex days. Like, that totally different now. Well, but it's like, and no heart, like, not even in a mean way. Like, hey, people age. It's a real thing. It's, you know, it's leave them alone. Let them retire.
The younger ones were literally on set to film another movie. So all they had to do was like put them in a room for a minute. Like, oh yeah, you guys are all in character. Hold on 1 second. Just stand right here. All right. And then like Beast, you're going to look at the door and just close it. Yep. Okay, good. Here you go,
Cyclops, keep the glasses on, look over, and say nothing. Everyone else, copy Cyclops. Beast, shut the door. And it's like, the easiest set direction of
Right.
all of you sit down and say nothing. Professor Xavier especially sit down, and then Beast will shut the door.
Yeah. I did want to mention also, I'll bring up the different cuts. So you have the super duper cut as well as the theatrical cut, which is they had different jokes in place of other ones, basically, and a little bit longer, I believe. And instead of the scene where Wade has Cerebro on and mentions Patrick Stewart, I believe the scene sets up the joke with the ejaculating of soap dispenser. It's Wade actually like putting that into a soap dispenser, so it's up. Because Colossus wants him to label everything in the refrigerators.
Yes.
Labeling everything. So, and he was talking to Negasonic and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I believe that was in the super duper cut. So then after that, then they get the message to go to the can't remember the name. Is it the Essex house?
Essex,
So
yeah.
Mr. Sinister.
Which I did not. I was so stupid when I first saw this because that name never clicked for me when I first saw this movie in theaters. And I was watching it today and they said, yeah, the Essex Home for Mutant Rehabilitation. And I was like, oh, shit. Like Essex, I get it now. And
I don't get it.
Ryan Reynolds. Sorry, Ryan Reynolds. It only took me like fucking 6 years because Essex is the name of Mr. Sinister. That's his real name. So Mr. Sinister in the Deadpool universe, number one, it's acknowledging he's there. Number two, it's acknowledging, he's already a piece of shit in this universe. And he's
Mr.
creating...
Sinister some asshole.
He's a big X-Men villain. Yeah, he's
oh, it's this guy. He's shown up in a couple Spider-Man ones
feathers
too,
off
right?
in the back looking.
And he was just in X-Men 97, so
okay. Has he showed up in any Spider-Man ones? I feel like I recognize him elsewhere.
I mean, maybe probably not movies, but in comics.
I don't think so.
Right.
Not too. I don't think he's met Spider-Man too much. I think he's mostly X-Men with the mutant side.
He like his main thing is that he wants to take down Apocalypse, and so he's always trying to like genetically create someone who can do that. And like Scott and Jean are like prime people to
prime real estate.
Produce a child that can take on Apocalypse. So he's mainly
Cable.
So like Cable's one of their kids. And then I thought it was like Cable mentioned Hope Summer, like his daughter Hope, and like Hope is one of them too. There's Rachel Summers. There's a couple of them.
I knew he was a distant relative of Cyclops and whatnot.
Yeah. There's Ray. There's a whole bunch of them. But like, anyway, that's Mr. Sinister. He wants to take down
Mr. Sinister.
He's very sinister.
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
he's annoying.
He's doing an asshole.
He's the worst. Every time he pops up, I'm like, get out of here! Like, God, you're such a dick. Just leave these people alone.
I laughed when what happened to him in X-Men 97 at the end happened. So
good. It was worth it.
But yes, so also the headmaster is played by the guy from At World's End in the Cornetto trilogy. I think that guy's name was Peter as well in that movie, but like it was one of Simon Pegg's friends in that movie that were getting drunk all the time. So that's who plays the headmaster.
Such a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I do like, by the way, that the school, like going back to some of the X-Men themes from some of the other movies, the school is like very much. Sorry, the cats are fighting over there. The school is very much like a conversion therapy sort of camp too, because they're like trying to electrocute the mutant abilities away, and it's like, thank you for going back to that. X-Men.
That was something.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna go off topic for like 5 seconds. There's a perfect TikTok I saw that perfectly explains attitudes towards mutants in the Marvel universe. It literally just goes like, anybody in the Avengers saving people, and they're like, yeah, good job, and then it like looks over and it's like a mutant saving somebody, and he just goes, "You freak, you weirdo, don't touch them." And I'm like, why is it really is always exactly
It's sort of like that in the
way.
comics too, and it really confounds me because it's just like, how
Yeah.
would they know otherwise? I'm pretty sure there's a whole thing in the comic books where like some people actually think Spider-Man's immune, but no, just like a whack-ass spider bit him one day, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." But if you're born
My
with
favorite
it,
is
they're
like, yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, the Hulk, yeah, he'll save us," but then like Nightcrawler shows up, and everybody is like, "I'm the same, yeah, Hawk Tua, you nasty motherfucker, like get out of
God,
here."
we got a Hawk Tua reference in this podcast.
Right, like
All right.
Rogue catches a building so it doesn't land on you, and you're like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, they're like, "I would have rather died, bitch," and like they're always so mean whenever the X-Men show up.
Right.
So yeah, then we get the interaction of Deadpool's now an X-Men trainee, as everybody says repeatedly.
Trainee.
Even
like,
the little
"Yeah,
kid
thanks for
eating
that."
cereal is like
Yes.
trained.
I love how, the Hugh Jackman cereal, and he
Yes.
signs Ryan Reynolds. So
It
good.
was so good. So and you get the interaction of them trying to calm Fire Fist down, and the first thing that he says is come one step closer, or Justin Bieber dies.
Ugh.
And I love how Deadpool turns around and goes, "He called you Justin Bieber." And he just turns around again.
It was so good. But yeah, and then then Deadpool obviously kills Jared Kushner. And him and Fire Fist go get sent to the icebox. So
Right. Go to mutant prison.
With Black Tom Cassidy.
Yep.
A very not racially motivated name.
Yep. And the other funny part is when they're in the cell after that, and he's like, I forgot
Black
the guy's
Tim,
name. Was he
Black Evan? I just
yeah.
know he was African American. I forgot his name.
Yeah. And then the other funny line is, I'm just full of unbridled cancer. Give me a bow and arrow and I'll just be Hawkeye.
Yes.
What the hell did I do to piss off a grumpy old man with a Winter Soldier arm?
Yeah, that another two MCU references right there.
Yes.
But yeah, so right after that we get introduced to Cable, and so Cable comes in, and we get the truckers played by Matt Damon and Alan Tudyk talking about toilet paper and wiping.
He says you wipe with regular toilet paper. You go in with a moist towelette, maybe some more toilet paper to get rid of the moisture. And I'm like, why are they talking about this?
I completely missed that was Matt Damon, and Matt
Yeah, it was
Damon's
Matt
my
Damon
guy.
and Alan Tudyk, who does a lot of voice acting. So
Yeah.
He voiced Hey the chicken in Moana, and he
K2SO
also
in
voices
Rogue
the
One.
guy. He also voices the guy who recommends killing Hey the chicken in Moana.
Ah,
yes, and yeah, as I said, K2SO in Rogue One. So
Yeah, but that character sucks. Well, I'm kidding. No, but just kidding. I'm kidding.
I liked
but
K2S
yeah,
because he was sassy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
he was, of course. Kevin.
He was the Sheldon Cooper robot.
Kevin's like, he talks to the lady like I talk to Pirate Sarah. Okay,
Yes, exactly.
It was an emotional connection. K2SO walks on screen, and Kevin's like, "Baby, you're all that I want." It's just...
See, you get it.
Yep. So yeah, Cable prepares to go to the icebox, and so then we get the prison break scene, and Deadpool and Cable fight, and this is where you get some DC references with I'm Batman. And then you're so dark, not are you sure you're not from the DC universe?
yeah.
Oh, you also get earlier in the movie when he's talking to Vanessa, I think, and he's like, I was fighting.
I fought someone else, and I found out his mom's name was Martha too.
Martha too.
Deep cut.
It's so good. But yeah, so we get this fight, and then we also get is dubstep a thing? Dubstep's for pussies. I love dubstep. And then you get giant dubstep playing in the background.
Yes.
It's important to note
Skrillex
here, Cable
coming
is
on.
from like the year, I don't even know what,
Yeah.
but he hates dubstep. Dubstep has left an indelible mark on history. He's like, yeah, that's for pussies. That'd be like me commenting on some obscure music genre from like 200 years ago.
Yeah. It's so funny. And so yeah, then they get blown out of the prison, and Wade has the vision with Vanessa, and then realizes he needs to help Russell, who obviously finds out that because Wade has the interaction with Cable where he's like, I don't give a fuck about the kid and whatnot. So that angers Russell.
And that's when Russell makes a friend.
Yes, he makes a friend that we're gonna find out is Juggernaut later, but
Hell yeah.
yeah. So
The second or third best mutant. I jump back and forth with him and Nightcrawler. So that's why I said second or third, okay?
we'll get to Juggernaut later, but first let's talk about the X-Force, and they need to recruit the X-Force, and this is also where Dopinder really wants to be part of the X-Force, be the contract killer, and then him and Weasel are like, what do you have to offer? And he just sits there for a moment. He's like, very quietly, courage.
Courage. Oh, that's adorable.
I like that they literally accept everyone else too, to the point where they just take Peter, who's just a guy. He just thought it sounded fun.
Yeah,
But no,
also in the super duper cut, they ask Peter what his powers are. He says, I don't have any, but I have type 1 and type 2 diabetes.
Type 1 and type 2.
And Wade and Weasel are like, oh, that's all the diabetes. Let us know when there's a type 3. So
collecting them like Infinity Stones. He's the second Thanos in this universe.
Well, I mean, the mustache. I mean, this is Infinity Gauntlet.
Very pro Peter.
Yes.
I also like that because it's Deadpool, they poked fun at some, like, Shatterstar, he's a ridiculous character. And so, like, they made fun of him, right? Like,
I come from Mojo World. Just once, I'd like to find a planet where everyone's worse than we are.
Isn't that Canada? You shut your dirty mouth.
Yeah, you shut your fucking mouth.
Right, like, Zeitgeist is spitting acid, right? Like,
Bill Skarsgård, aka Pennywise.
yes, like, and there's like, it is silly because like it's silly.
And then you have Terry Crews as Bedlam.
We can't forget about Vanisher, guys.
And Vanisher, the Brad Pitt cameo. So good. But it's funny because I believe Terry Crews was like promoting Deadpool 2 at the time heavily, and people were like, oh, Terry Crews is going to be like at least for half the movie, and then he dies in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. He's there to
he's literally the first one to die.
Yes. Yeah.
And like is one of the ones who like could have come back. Like he just ran into a bus. Like it's possible, right? Like he went through the windshield. Maybe he's okay. The other ones, like Bill Skarsgård gets like chopped into pieces.
Yes.
Right? Like so does Shatterstar. Like they're dead. They're gone.
Yes. Well, Shatterstar somehow got brought back.
Shatterstar and Peter.
Well, we know Peter, but like
Peter, he went back in time and he said he was like, just leave, go home now.
Yeah.
I'm shocked Shatterstar got brought back though, because
I know Deadpool said he was kind of a dick and like didn't like him.
Yeah, why did Deadpool all of a sudden? I feel like there's going to be an interaction that explains, like, wait, did I save you?
Right.
He's like, what are you doing here? I thought you died. And he's like, no, you saved me. And he's like, ah, shit. I meant to save Peter twice, but.
So yeah, it's just down to Wade and Domino by the end of it. So, and it's
I like the joke too about like several people mentioned the wind advisory.
Yes.
And then like he's like, who knew? Like literally everyone.
And yeah, Domino over the speed. Everyone on and off the helicopter knew about this. My favorite's when Deadpool winks afterward too, and he mentions it again. He goes, "Yeah, we should go out. There's a wind advisory in effect." Like he wants to kill Cable that way.
Yeah.
And Cable's like, "Yeah, we're not fucking doing that." Like,
And then you get the Peter line of I'm pretty sure this Cable guy hasn't killed more people than melanoma.
when he's he has the thickest pile of fucking he has.
It's so much sunscreen for just.
As soon as I saw it all lump up, I was like, like, that's just too much, guys.
So then we get the chase on the convoy with Domino and Deadpool, which is a great action scene. Also you get Stan Lee that appears on the wall as Deadpool is like heading down to the convoy. So this was also the year that Stan passed, unfortunately. So
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I mean Stan's last cameos were in Captain Marvel and Endgame the following year, but he filmed those before, you know, this. So all right, so then yeah, the convoy scene. What did you guys think of this action scene?
It's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
It's great, and they like again they kill off Tom Cassidy and like all of those like silly little side characters that are like a fun little mention. Like, okay, and now they're dead. Bye, because this is Deadpool.
Sorry, Kevin, I think you mispronounced his name. I believe you left out the black part.
The black Tom Cassidy. Yes, the black Tom. I think they
looks like we have another Cable in the chat, Barucci.
And like again, just like Domino's power is just like because the way the movie is funny. So she's like the gun doesn't work when she gets into the truck, right? Like he goes to shoot her and it doesn't go off. So like all of those things, and it's so like it's fun, it's funny. She's also a good fighter, but like, and then when it finally crashes and she just like falls into the inflatable panda.
Yeah. It was so good, which is funny because that's what her eye markings look like, is like panda eyes.
And like, why is there a car dealership under an overpass? It doesn't make any sense, but like, that's because that's her power.
Yeah, that's her.
It's the city, I guess.
Right.
And you get Deadpool, the funny moment of him being like, "Take your best shot, One-Eyed Willie," and him like blocking none of the bullets.
I swear, I remember I don't know if maybe was just the trailers or something. I could have swore he said something else. Because in the movie, he goes like, "Ow," and then he just starts walking forward.
Yeah.
But I could have sworn he's like, "Wow, those bullets are fast." And then he went. I was like, I swear I remember a different.
Because I remember that being in the trailer. Like, so I think that line, and I think they changed it when it was the real movie because his face is covered. But yeah, because I do remember that. But it's because it's like the reference to the first movie, sure, to X-Men Origins Wolverine, not even the first movie. Like, because that's what he was doing in the first one with the sword. Yeah, and like. Like making fun of how ridiculous it is.
Yes.
And they all just go through him.
Yeah. It's like,
so cool. He gets like a couple of them, and then you see the rest of them, he's just like blood pouring out. And
you see the blood like splattering out of the back of him during that. Yeah.
So good.
It's so good.
It would have been really nice if Peter survived. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, true. I mean, he does technically
for like 2 extra minutes.
Well, we're gonna see.
I will say that, once again, you know, Kevin intolerance rears its ugly head for Black Tom Cassidy, but
Sarah's gonna have a field day with this one.
But it was I do love the scene where like they're fighting on the convoy and he like is shooting all the prisoners and dumping their cells out of the actual one of them is a cameo by the director, and it was like it was just so funny having like all of them drop out and you just hear and they like get hit by a car and you're like, oh god. And then just it's so great seeing Russell open the cell and you see this big silver helmet.
Yeah.
And I looked at Austin, callback, my friend who told me there's no way they'd put him in the movie. And I went, That's the Juggernaut.
He's the Juggernaut, bitch.
He's the Juggernaut, bitch.
And the reaction, like the first reaction, just gasp from Wade Wilson.
Deadpool goes, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and then once they crash, and you get Deadpool just naming off all like the X-Men comics that Juggernaut is in. I've always wanted to see my face reflected in your shiny helmet running at me with murderous intent. I don't,
but not right now. Yeah. I'm gonna rip you in half now.
And the funniest thing is Juggernaut is also voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
And motion capture too.
Yes. Yep.
Which means that's Ryan Reynolds' hairy ass that we see when they plug when they plug him in. But
it's so good. But yes, so then Wade actually gets ripped in half, which is just great.
It's so gross.
And makes for the most uncomfortable scene in the movie.
Yep.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Kevin's holding the baby hands, but Kevin, he could not find his plastic baby penis, so unfortunately we had to go without for that during the recording today. But
sadly,
we have the baby hands.
I need tiny legs too, not just tiny hands. I need tiny legs.
It's so funny to see his like chunky little baby legs kicking while he's sitting there.
Yeah, yep.
And they said that he purposefully chose that shirt because it's the same one that Chunky wore in the fucking Goonies, and they were like, yeah. He chose that because because Josh Brolin was going to be in the scene with him.
That's amazing, actually. He's just
hilarious
doing it.
He was made for this.
Yeah.
He was made for just being crazy as hell.
And everybody reacting to his baby legs, and then Blindell's like, what's going on? And then at one point, at the very start of that interaction, she like accidentally rubs his dick thinking it's his hand.
My favorite is when Domino comes in. She goes, "Oh my god!" And like he's talking about the baby dick. She goes, "No, I'm talking about your face. I've never seen you with your mask off before. What the fuck?" And once again, the same joke from the first movie gets brought back. And TJ Miller in the corner goes, "Yeah, I know. It looks like he looks like an avocado." And I'm like, "Get another joke.
Yeah.
Throw the avocado away." Instead of getting another joke, they said, "Hey, we're just going to get another weasel."
Yeah, I mean, it just shows how unfunny TJ Miller is.
Damn.
Unfunny.
Brookie said, "Say something funny right now." You have 5
I forgot the funny.
All right, so let's get to the final battle. Big CGI battle coming up. So, and this is also where they're beating up pedophiles together. Best friends beat up pedophiles together.
I still love when when Juggernaut walks up and he goes, "I'm gonna put the red guy in the blue guy," and then he's like, fucking Dopinder's like, "I think it's time to go to the car." And at the same time, Deadpool's like, "I think you should go back to the car."
Yeah. Oh, and then you also have Deadpool giving another
sun's getting real low, big guy.
Well, he does that. I was gonna say he also tells Cable to zip it Thanos.
Zip it Thanos. So good.
So that's 2 more MCU references.
They were racking them up in this movie.
Yeah.
I remember at the time, like I remember people being like, "Ooh, like should Deadpool do that?" And like they actually aged even better than they went over at the time. Like it's so funny now. Like at the time, people were kind of like, "Ooh, was that okay?" And most of us
now that he's about to be like the guy.
Who's not laughing at that today?
Yeah,
everyone laughs at that today.
Yeah,
Kevin Feige was like, "We're gonna make this work."
Yes,
absolutely. And then the whole fight commences. Why you dressed like the Unabomber? You have also when the headmaster comes running out, and they're like, he looks like an old pervert looking for his laptop.
A lot of dingers in this one.
Yeah, yeah. So, and we mentioned the domino fight scene when she's getting the kids onto the bus and fighting like the guys in there, and just like the freaking cabinet just falls on and decapitates the one guy.
No one even had to type decapitate into the computer to make it do it.
Yeah.
It just happened.
That's an X-Men Origins Wolverine joke.
Yes. Yep. All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about with this final battle?
Yes. So, my favorite is obviously watching Colossus fight Juggernaut.
Yes, of course.
And it's because it's time to fight dirty, and he like wraps the shit around his fingers. He stabs him in the eye and beats the shit, stabs him in the balls. But yeah, it's just so watching them fight. I was like, God, on the list of things you never knew you wanted in a movie, and then it happens, and you're like, I didn't know I needed this, but thank God it happened. That was number one while watching this movie. I was like, I didn't know I needed this, but God, this is badass to see finally a good version of fucking Colossus and Juggernaut fight. It was so good, and God, I just can't get over that fight. It was just phenomenal.
Oh, for sure. Gabe, any thoughts on this final?
All the Juggernaut screen time is very nice. Also, it was pretty funny when he ripped off his pants and you see the big jug booty cheeks. That was pretty standout.
Yep. And
honestly, like him wailing on Colossus is like a little freaky. I remember sitting in theaters watching that and being like, "Damn, is he about to like shatter this dude? Like he looks like he could like just start folding his shit." Can't Colossus like? I might be having like a total like brain rot moment. Can he switch between metal and not metal, or am I making that up?
Colossus can switch that. He can go back to
okay.
Yeah.
He's done in these movies because he's like a giant CGI character. So like it's actually a man who's like this tall with a giant ball on his head up here. And like they talk to the ball when they're on set, and then they like make that where that character's head is.
Whoa. But yeah, no, that crap was crazy. Yeah, the team up with Cable and Deadpool is also very cool.
Yep.
We almost forgot to mention the Charles Xavier shout out given by Juggernaut when he's talking about his half brother.
Yeah.
So you wear that helmet because your brother tries to read your mind. He goes, yeah, but he's in a wheelchair. So and you're like, okay, well,
yeah. Well, so doesn't Juggernaut didn't he become a mutant through like Witch's powers? Is that the origin in the comics?
I think so. If not, it's something super close.
Okay. I didn't, because I thought I had read that.
I think he gets the Juggernaut power from the crystal.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's something.
He gains his powers from the Crimson Gem of Sidorak, a mystical artifact belonging to the deity Sidorak.
Okay.
Yes.
Which reminds me of Doctor Strange's Crimson Bands of Sidorak. So
can I also listen? I know that this Juggernaut, obviously he was in prison, so it's a little bit different. But just imagining him in the Juggernaut suit gives me so much hope for the future of comic book movies. Because like clearly now I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but clearly now we're gonna get the Wolverine outfit that we've always wanted. I think it's time for us to re-explore. We don't have to modernize suits as much. We can tweak it and put stuff on. So like the same they did with the Deadpool and Wolverine suits, but it's showing this shit can look cool in live action. And it's literally just, you can bring it to screen and we will love it.
I think we're finally leaving the era where everything has to be like realistic, or like, you know, we're finally embracing the campy side of things.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
even when Hugh Jackman was in an interview recently.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. hey, Hugh, jack me. That's what Ryan says on set. But it was, I know that like when he had an interview and he was talking about like, for years, everyone was like, yeah, it wouldn't make sense to put Wolverine in like the bright suit and all of that. And then like Hugh Jackman was like, it took me 20 years to put that suit on. He's like, as soon as we saw it, we were like, this made sense. We should have done this years ago.
Mhm.
He was like, it doesn't make sense that we never tried this before. And all of us on the internet are like, that's what we've been saying.
That's what we told you.
We've been telling y'all.
You could even be like, you could even make some stupid in-universe reason like, oh, the yellow gives him extra strength because it's his. We made it to do that. I don't know. Like, just I don't care. Just put them in silly suits. The Deadpool suit should look stupid on screen, but it doesn't. It looks great. Juggernaut looks great as a freakish giant CGI monster instead of just like some buff dude in a metal helmet. So
yeah.
Poor Vinny Jones.
Worst.
He thought it was going to be so cool.
They really thought they were doing something monumental with that casting in that movie. And then everyone was like, you guys suck at this. You guys are not starting off with a good track record.
Nope. Yeah, and then you get Deadpool sacrificing himself for Russell with the prolonged death scene because he's trying to outdo Logan.
Yeah.
And
the X-Force suit, how the dust made it all gray was a really nice
reference to the comics. So then like making Colossus say the F word.
And he goes, oh, you're going to hell.
Swamp mouth.
Yeah, see you in hell. And so Colossus is like, oh man, you're right.
Yep. And don't see the light coming up. Don't stare at the sun. So then Cable's gonna go around and fix that, but Wade has one final conversation with Vanessa at the moment, which is gonna get turned back on at the end of the movie. But you get this great acoustic version of Take on Me as well, which I believe did not play in the Super Duper cut. They replaced it with something else, which is like my other one, like probably my one gripe with the Super Duper cut is they took out Take on Me, which it was so good in the background here in this scene. So
I concur.
Yeah. So
that and the Beyond song are so good. Like they so perfectly fit the movie.
Yeah. And so so I believe also the Super Duper cut has different lines that Vanessa says. I think because here she says what, don't fuck Colossus.
Yeah, he says don't fuck Elvis. She says don't fuck Colossus.
And I think in the Super Duper cut he says don't fuck Elvis and she says too late.
That's also funny though.
So but yes, so then Cable puts the skee ball token, which is such a cool like callback to bring that into play here to save Wade's life here, and still have Russell feel bad and like make sure he doesn't turn out evil because and so yep, that happens. Oh, and we need to mention that's just lazy writing line that comes up a couple times because obviously you have the number 7 being the only thing that can deactivate the mutant column.
Lazy writing. Try 7.
God, that's lazy writing.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way that's gonna work that, but well.
And then they go off together, and you get the headmaster getting run over by Dopinder, who gets his first taste of blood.
It's his first taste of blood, and like again, he's going on about how they're an abomination, and I'm just like, fuck you.
Yep,
and
Karma's then gonna get him, and Deadpool's like, I saw you coming for the last 30 seconds.
Yes.
Oh God, it's so good. And then he's like, well, whoa, calm down there, Brown Panther.
Brown Panther was so funny.
All right. So then we end the movie and we're going to get to the post-credit scenes. So Obviously, Wade gets the Cable's time travel disc from Negasonic and Yukio after they repair it, and they're like, "What have we done?"
Right?
And so, of course, Wade is going to use it. He ends up saving Vanessa first, of course, naming their kid Cher.
Yes.
Um, and then he's going to save Peter, our boy. So we have to save Peter. And I think in the super duper cut, he also says when Peter says we're X-Force, and he's like, no, it's just a marketing tactic to keep Josh Brolin employed by Fox. So,
And he kills Ryan Reynolds.
yep.
He
So
kills
then
Ryan
he kills
Green
himself
Lantern.
twice, kills the Origins Wolverine
and
one,
he kills, yes.
and so just cleaning up the timeline. And in the super duper cut, he has, I'm sure you guys have seen it on the internet if you haven't seen the super duper cut, but he has the longer conversation with Hugh Jackman, kind of, but where he's like, one day your good friend your good friend Wade is gonna tell you to get back in the saddle, and you're gonna say yes, and you're gonna make a lot of fans really happy. And at the time,
And they called that shit.
yeah, you're like, that's not gonna happen. It's like, now that just aged so well. But
Perfectly.
so that
And there was the one where he had there's the one where he thought about killing baby Hitler.
yes, I'll get to that in a second. So then he kills himself in Green Lantern. It's just so funny because you just see the script Green Lantern, and then you just see the blood just splatter.
You can tell he was like, I gotta do this one for me.
Yes. Yes.
You're welcome, Canada.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even realize back then either, that Taika Waititi was also in Green Lantern. Which is just funny. So but yeah, then in the super duper cut, basically there is a scene that they cut from the theatrical version where Wade goes back in time to earlier joke where he said you should just go back in time and kill baby Hitler. So he goes back in time to do that, and doesn't obviously show it happening, but at the end of the very end of that last scene, he's like, oh, I should bring Cable here. He loves killing kids. It's
That's
such
funny.
a bad joke.
I love how he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, instead he just changes baby Hitler's diaper and he goes, I can't do it.
Yeah,
It's like, I can't do this.
Maybe the poopy diaper is why you're such an ass. Why you're such a horrible person.
I think it worked so well too because like the same proposition was brought up by Rhodey later, a year later, for Endgame, when they're talking about killing baby Thanos. So I think it was just perfect timing because it was like we have all these interweaving jokes that like they didn't even know was going on, but it just fit so perfectly.
Oh yeah, yep. And then he's like, you crying, I can already see you doing the sig high.
Once again, intolerance rears its ugly head.
So bad. All right. So with that, so yeah, and then I wanted to mention, so we mentioned the super duper cut. There's also a PG-13 version that I think came out Christmas at the end of the year. And it is basically without any swearing or anything.
No
except
swearing.
he drops one F-bomb and says he's only allowed one F-bomb, but he has a conversation with Fred Savage, who was the kid in the Princess Diaries, and traps him in the bed, and just basically they make fun of Nickelback, and they do a bunch of the jokes are actually pretty funny, I think, in that, but I don't think there are enough scenes for just because you're watching Deadpool 2 all over again, but without any of the crass humor. So I think there should have been.
I think, wasn't that also like an attempt because like Disney was getting Fox at that point. So wasn't that like let's see if people respond to a PG-13 Deadpool instead of an R Deadpool?
Yes, I believe that was an attempt to respond to that for sure.
Just like let's try this. We already made money off of Deadpool, so like if we don't make a ton of money off this, that's fine. But like let's see if people do like it and are into it. Like
yeah.
And then people were like, "Yeah, this is fine," but like
We want rated R Deadpool.
Yeah.
We want rated R version.
Deadpool is kind of like an all or nothing kind of thing. Like, if you make a PG-13 Deadpool, it's like, like you said, it's all right, but
Yeah. Thank God Kevin Feige knows that and still made Deadpool and Wolverine rated R. So, all right. So, anything else before we hit our rankings? Gabe. All right, well, let's hit the rankings. Okay, so our current Tribe of Nerds rankings as they stand, First Class is at number 1, Days of Future Past is at number 2, Deadpool at number 3, Logan at number 4, X2 at 5, X-Men 1 at 6, Last Stand at 7, and we didn't rank the Wolverine movies or Apocalypse. And we're never gonna rank Dark Phoenix or New Mutants because they suck. So
I want to clarify that just for my own sake, I did watch the other movies, even though we weren't with them, except for Dark Phoenix and New Mutants.
I didn't watch those either, but I watched
because
all
because they're not good. Like they're steaming piles of nothing. No, I would say for me that the top 5 X-Men movies, like in no particular order, are X2, Days of Future Past, Logan, and the 2 Deadpools. Like without like ranking them within that 5, like those to me are the best 5. And then, I mean, rewatching First Class for this, I appreciated First Class a lot more. So like,
yeah,
any order of those ones being together,
top 6.
Yeah.
I have Deadpool 2 as my new number 1. I just enjoyed this even more than the first one. And so I guess, again, my rankings of the 11 X-Men movies, I had Deadpool 2, Deadpool, Logan, X2, First Class is my top 5, and Days of Future Past is my number 6. And yeah, then the other 5 are my bottom 5. But yeah, no, I would put this as number 1. I think everything is elevated from the first Deadpool. I know some people think differently, that the first Deadpool felt more fresh, but I just think this ups the ante on what the first one did really well and just makes it better. So
yeah, I would put this above the other Deadpool.
Yeah. Josh and Gabe, what do you guys think?
I'm in agreement with Kevin.
Above the other Deadpool, I feel like it can't trump Logan. Logan is just kind of the diamond in the rough for like a lot of Marvel movies for me, but
did we already lose that battle though? Didn't we already?
Yeah, Logan is already below the first Deadpool, so
yeah, that's so
sorry.
I do like
no, that's fine.
That might have been a little bit of me
and Sarah
and myself.
and Josh did break the tie,
but I love Logan.
I do like Logan as well. I mean, I'm the one who pushed for it.
So long as I can drop it right in front of the first Deadpool, that's fine.
So that would be below Days of Future Past and First Class, and how it is ranked.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
First Class has a lot going on for it, so
yeah.
I can't believe First Class stayed at number 1, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It was way better than I remembered it being. Like there was a lot better writing in it than I remembered. Like I remembered it as mostly like the montage scene, like really looking like comic book panels. But like actually watching it, there was a lot more to it. So
yeah,
it's fine. It can stay up there.
Yeah, I do like First Class. So
yeah.
Yeah, so that is where everything sits for the X-Men rankings. I assume we'll just add Deadpool and Wolverine to the X-Men rankings when we do our spoiler review next week. But yes,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
I'm so excited.
We're all excited. So let's do our predictions without going into spoilers for things that Marvel themselves has spoiled, because we don't want to spoil other people who have been trying to avoid that. So my predictions is that things that haven't been spoiled, I think we're getting some cameo appearances from like Channing Tatum as Gambit. I think we're getting that.
Huh.
I thought about this because I will say they did release the soundtrack, and The Greatest Showman, Greatest Show is on there. I am wondering because there is a couple years ago there was the fan cast that Zac Efron was going to be Human Torch. What if Zac Efron comes in and you get Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron? Yeah, as a Human Torch, yeah.
If it's a Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman in full Wolverine garb and like Zac Efron in full Human Torch costume doing This Is the Greatest Show.
Yeah. It'd be so good. I don't know that Zac Efron is even going to be involved but like the fact that they had John Krasinski as a fan cast for Reed Richards, and he was.
Amazing.
So
and I mean what's it MJ from Spider-Man is also in The Greatest Show, like Greatest Showman, and already like works with Disney, Zendaya. So like that could be a whole like little scene. Like they could go to a universe where all of those characters are also movie stars.
Yeah, I think her character from Shake It Off will be showing up in the Deadpool movie.
So
her character from Euphoria will be actually playing.
Oh my gosh. If she is seeing The Greatest Show as her character from Euphoria, who's like an addict, like constantly relapsing. So ridiculous. Next to Zac Efron as the Human Torch and Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman does take his like musical theater stuff so seriously.
Yes.
He's so earnestly into musical theater. So like him like super into it next to Zendaya playing a character who is not at all into it would be very funny.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's just like it could be anything. It could be anything.
And it's funny because that's not the only musical theater song on the soundtrack either. There's another perfectly chosen one of my favorites, and it's You're the One That I Want from Grease with Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. And that song is also on the soundtrack, and I cannot wait. I saw 2 musical theater songs. I said, "Oh, we're eating good this year, music nerds! Like we're going off in this movie." And I cannot wait. I totally agree with you, Borucki, that Channing Tatum has to be in this movie as fucking Gambit. It would just be so good.
With the full 90s like head thing and like with the trench coat.
On me. I need to hear that.
Also, I want we were talking about it kind of before the podcast started, but a lot of the kind of OG X-Men that we haven't seen since like those far back, like since before I was 10 fucking years old, we haven't seen these characters. And it's just like I want to see Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler, or you want to see like James Marsden Cyclops, or let me tell you, Halle Berry as Storm coming back after she fucking flopped Catwoman is going to be the funniest thing ever in the history of superheroes. Like it number one, we already saw Daredevil become Batman, so what the fuck? But like, and then it's just watching Storm go to Catwoman and be like, I'm not good at this, let me go back to Storm. But also seeing how like now they could correct things with their characters that they got wrong the first time around. So having Halle Berry show up, but it's not the same Halle Berry Storm, she has the accent. And like you have in like all of these things that they can tweak it and be like, okay, hey, we didn't really get this right the first time around. We're going to focus on it now, and we're going to give people the crazy fucking X-Men universe they always wanted. And then my prediction is they're going to absolutely destroy it. Fox is going to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
They're going to rip this fucking universe apart right before they toss Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU. Like they get them fully acclimated in the universe. But I think that they are going to give like Fox's X-Men one last crazy ride by like bringing in the old and the new with like the 2016 cast too. So like you're bringing back the young Jean Grey. And...
Yes, go to universe, and they're all like the whole OG cast is in their like comics fighting. right? And like maybe we don't spend a lot of time there, but like we even got in X-Men 97, like we finally like we got to see like an accurate animation of their powers.
Mhm.
So like we could have them like having an actual battle, like actually using their powers correctly. Not like as much as I appreciate the first X-Men movie, like they didn't know how to animate Jean Grey. They didn't know like they didn't know how to do these things. Like they sidelined a lot of the characters, and like you can actually like you can give Cyclops a moment like he had in X-Men 97 when he jumped from the plane. Like
Yeah.
you can do like it
fuck.
just has to be a minute, or like when he was using his power to like push himself and slide around the floor, right? Like you can, and it only has to be for a minute, right? It can just be like a little like 1 or 2 minute like battle scene, but also they might not crush them and kill them off because Secret Wars is coming.
Yes.
And so they might make
Ooh.
another appearance in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I also want. Sorry, so sorry. But the biggest thing I just thought of is like, obviously Wolverine is depressed in this one, so I think what's going to happen is
Make
most of the
Wolverine depressed again.
yes, yeah, truly, like yeah, but like Wolverine, he's depressed. I hope, God, I hope what happens, because we've barely seen the mask, so I hope what happens is he doesn't think he's the Wolverine, kind of like in the Old Man Logan comics.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be the Wolverine. He ruined everything. He doesn't want to be the Wolverine. In the last fight, he's like, I am the Wolverine and I need to help. And he puts that fucking mask on and he wears it the entire final fight. And that's how, listen, I need it. I need the mask for more than 5 fucking seconds in this
I know
movie.
Logan was sort of supposed to be Old Man Logan or Wolverine, but
yeah,
like actually
like it changed
having
a bunch.
Yeah, actually having an Old Man Wolverine would be like great.
And this one, we can tell it's going to take those Old Man Logan vibes because they have the corpse of Ant-Man, which was like the craziest. In Old Man Logan, that was one of the craziest panels that everyone was like, oh my God, like this is how much carnage. It's literally just people are driving on the highway through the carcass of Ant-Man. And like now that we see it in this, also with the like hilarious joke but I won't
finally
spoil it for
aged.
Kevin. Yeah, it's well, sorry, Kev, but it was, yeah, I know that I was like, it's as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, so we might be kind of going back and drawing even more inspiration from some of these things that we've gotten in the past. So I think that there might be hope that we're gonna get the mask for longer than 5 seconds. If we don't, I am publicly stating here that I will commit a crime if we don't get the mask for more than like a minute of screen time. But you know, I'm just putting that out there. FBI, keep an eye, because you know you better pray that Hugh Jackman did this. But yeah, that's my hope.
Yeah, Gabe, any thoughts on what you hope to see?
Honestly, I need them to just come out and just acknowledge it's just a tiny bit disingenuous to bring back out Hugh Jackman's Wolverine after Logan. It's like that's just like a perfect send off. Just they popped off with Logan. I just like it's a great movie through and through. I want them to build off of all the really good action scenes, and I don't know. I feel like Deadpool 2 was a great kind of because Deadpool 2, it was made during this time where like things are kind of weird. Disney just acquired Fox, or like they were finalizing that deal or whatever. So like they can kind of use some X-Men characters, but not really. And I'm like, I kind of want them to just kind of bridge that gap a little more and like kind of like tell audiences it's okay. You can expect a lot more X-Men, a lot more Fantastic Four, like all these Fox characters you've been missing. Like, and we're gonna get a little silly with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, didn't Jennifer Garner say, like, didn't she say Elektra was gonna be? So like, we can get all of them.
Yeah. So Jennifer Garner, we might get Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Could be huge.
So, I also want to say,
I beg you, please.
Bring back Ben Affleck. He got short-stocked as Batman. I need him to get something good in his life for my happiness. Please.
Let this man play Daredevil again. He's been depressed and drinking Dunkin' Donuts literally ever since ever since then.
Plus, he's gotten so much better as an actor. Please, like that's what I like admire about this movie is that all of these actors who like 20 years ago, some of them got shit on for their performances. So I just want like we need this movie to come back with these characters so we can give them the proper send off of like we want you to be able to do your character justice and be able to end on a good note. Like maybe we started not in the best, but we're able to end and have you get the respect you deserve because we know they're good actors. Like we've seen them in other projects. Halle Berry has a fucking Oscar. We know she's good, but like just giving her the opportunity and giving most of these characters finally, like even Sabretooth, the opportunity to shine and really do what they were meant to do as characters and be good actors. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
I'm hoping that the incentive they gave Hugh Jackman to come back will also be applicable to others and anyone else they might try to rope in for future projects. Because like he came back for a reason. Like I said, I'm of the opinion that Logan was the perfect send off. So I'm like, okay, give him the yellow suit, make him go nuts. It is R-rated, and make a good movie.
Yep, absolutely. And so I trying to think. The major thing that I'm really, really hoping for is at least also because we got all these Loki tie-ins. Post-credit scene, Brandon Loki, because Deadpool
Rookie wants Kang back.
Yeah, well, just like go in, like they have like at the very end post-credit, like the TVA takes them to Loki being like the god of holding all the multiverses together, and they have this meeting with Loki and being like, hey, they want us to like help you, or Loki needs our help to like help pull the multiverse together. So
Baruchi's like, and at the end, we're gonna bring back Jonathan Majors as Kang. That's what Baruchi wants. That's his number one want. Baruchi told us before the podcast. He didn't want us to tell you, but he wants Jonathan Majors.
He's telling us all about it.
Yeah, he could not stop praising Jonathan Majors personally and professionally, and especially as Kang.
Yeah, I totally.
Like, oh, God.
What a great person. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Hear it from the horse's mouth, audience.
Horrible person. Yeah, so I can't remember what the other appearance I was gonna say. So anything else for predictions?
Oh, and we do see in the one trailer that like they jump through what looks like one of Doctor Strange's portals. So like
yes.
Also expect MCU characters. Like
Yep, and Eliath from the Loki show is in.
Why is it so funny that I didn't even think about that? I was like, oh yeah, we totally could see MCU characters in this.
Like, and
I didn't even think about that.
Like, that was one of the things that was supposed to happen in Doctor Strange was like other like the Tom Cruise version of
Iron Man.
So like,
Mr.
Not that I necessarily expect that one, but like in general, we could be getting things like that too. Like people who would have been cast as Avengers, like in a different timeline.
Right. But it won't be bastardized like the Flash.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, and Daniel Craig was supposed to be like Balder the Brave in Multiverse of Madness as well. Apparently, that was a thing.
I love the rumor that Daniel Radcliffe is going to play Patch.
Yes, I've heard that rumor too. It's either him or Taron Egerton. I believe that is.
And I'll die. And it's also rumored Henry Cavill as a potential Wolverine.
I heard that too.
Oh yeah, this movie might be the craziest shit we've ever seen, and I've watched The Room. But yeah.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
Hi, dog.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not hit her. It's
all right.
Speaking of Jonathan Majors. But yeah, I know.
He is starring in a new movie, by the way, and apparently it's Denis Villeneuve has a brother, and he is the director. So apparently Denis Villeneuve has an evil ass brother.
His brother said, "I have the perfect person to cast in this movie."
Former Hollywood star / domestic abuser.
Yeah. / current inmate.
All right. Well, on that note, we're very excited. We will talk next week in our spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine on the Tribe of Nerds.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Like you, Sarah.